Welcome to our YouTube video series on legal terminology. My name is Christopher Neufeld, and in this particular video, we'll be looking at the concept of sovereignty. So what exactly is sovereignty? Sovereignty, at its core, is that of supreme authority within a territory, with the source of sovereignty in the modern era typically being found in the body of laws that are put forth and enforced by the polity that is charged with such authority over the territory. Now, to best understand the concept of sovereignty, we should look to the historical dimensions, and one might well look to the writings of Ernst Kantorowicz in the 1957 medieval classic, The King's Two Bodies, where Ernst described the profound transformation in the concept of political authority over the course of the Middle Ages. The change began when the concept of the body of Christ evolved into the notion of two bodies. One, the corpus naturale, that being the consecrated host of the altar, and the other, the corpus mysticum, the social body of the church with its attendant administrative structure. This latter notion of a collective social organization having an enduring mythical essence would come to be transferred to political entities, the body politic. Ernst identified the emergence in the late Middle Ages of the concept of the king's two bodies, expressed in William Shakespeare's Richard II and applicable to the early modern body politic. Whereas the king's natural mortal body would pass away with his death, he was also thought to have an enduring supernatural one that could not be destroyed, even by assassination, for it represented the mystical dignity and justice of the body politic. The modern polity that emerged dominant in early modern Europe manifested the qualities of the collectivity that Ernst described. A single, unified one, confined within the territorial borders, possessing a single set of interests, ruled by an authority that was bundled into a single entity and held supremacy in advancing the interests of the polity. Though in early modern times kings would hold this authority, later practitioners of it could include the people ruling through a constitution, nations, the Communist Party, dictators, juntas, and theocracies. The modern polity is known as a state, and the fundamental characteristic authority within it, sovereignty. The evolution that Ernst described is formative, for sovereignty is a signature feature of modern politics. Some scholars have doubted whether a stable, essential notion of sovereignty exists, but there is in fact a definition that captures what sovereignty came to mean in early modern Europe, and of which most subsequent definitions are a variant: supreme authority within a territory. This is the quality that the early modern states possessed, but which popes, emperors, kings, bishops, and most nobles and vassals during the Middle Ages lacked. Each component of this definition highlights an important aspect of the concept. First, a holder of sovereignty possesses authority. That is to say, the person or entity does not merely wield coercive power, defined as A's ability to cause B to do what he would otherwise not do. Authority is rather what philosopher R.P. Wolf proposed, quote, the right to command and correlative the right to be obeyed, end quote. What is most important here is the term right, connoting legitimacy. A holder of sovereignty derives authority from some mutually acknowledged source of legitimacy: natural law, a divine mandate, hereditary law, a constitution, even international law. In the contemporary era, some body of law is ubiquitous with the source of sovereignty. But if sovereignty is a matter of authority, it is not a matter of mere authority, but of supreme authority. Supremacy is what makes the Constitution of the United States superior to the government of New Hampshire, or any holder of sovereignty different from a police chief or corporate executive. The holder of sovereignty is superior to all authorities under its purview. Supremacy, too, is endemic to modernity. During the Middle Ages, many feudal authorities held some sort of legal warrant for their authority, whether feudal, canonical, or otherwise, but very rarely did such warrant confer supremacy. A final ingredient of sovereignty is territoriality, also a feature of political authority in modernity. Territoriality is a principle by which members of a community are to be defined. It specifies that membership derives from their residence within borders. It is a powerful principle, for it defines membership in a way that may not correspond with identity. The borders of a sovereign state may not at all circumscribe a person or a nation, and may in fact encompass several of these identities, as national self-determination and irredentist movements make evidence. It is rather by simple virtue of their location within geographical borders that people belong to a state and fall under the authority of its ruler. It is within a geographic territory that modern sovereigns are supremely authoritative. Territoriality is now deeply taken for granted. It is a feature of authority all across the globe. Even supranational and international institutions like the European Union and the United Nations are composed of states whose membership is in turn defined territorially. The universality of form is distinctive of modernity and underlines sovereignty's connection with modernity. Though territoriality has existed in different eras and locales, other principles of membership like family, kinship, religion, tribe, and feudal ties have also held great prestige. Most vividly contrasting with territoriality is a wandering tribe, whose authority structure is completely disassociated with a particular piece of land. Territoriality specifies by what qualities citizens are subject to authority, their geographic location within a set of boundaries. International relations theorists have indeed pointed out the similarity between sovereignty and another institution in which lines demarcate land, private property. Indeed, the two prominently rose together in the thoughts of Thomas Hobbes.